Guys, Joe here. So in this, I'm going to be. This is the first type of weekly coaching that I'm doing. So this is going to a private Facebook group, and then this is also going to um, one of my local pro helper channels. So the part of these are purpose of these is to help you guys, get more leads, book more jobs, and things like that. Um, And I just realized I should have had. Let's see if it goes to this one. All right, I forgot to add it to my personal stream, so it'll be on here as well. So yeah, the purpose of this is to help you guys get more leads, book more jobs, things like that. I just shot too much chopstick. Um, so just to quickly go over some things. And for this one, honestly, I don't have anything planned. The last few weeks I did, as far as I'm out of more, get more leads and all that kind of stuff. But I'll just kind of go over the things that we personally do at H&J to help you guys, get more leads, book more jobs, things like that. So number one is like predominantly most of my day is spent on you guys. So what happens is I'll go through and see again how like what are the different ways that I can get you guys more leads. So there's been a few things that we're testing, some that worked out pretty damn well, some not so much, right? And so what we're starting to do now is double down on the things that have actually been working for you guys. So um, but the key thing for this, because it actually just happened again, and me and Maria were talking about this, is that I do spend, once I start onboarding new contractors, like I spend a lot of time trying to get you guys more leads, and it's not even just the time, but like I put like we end up investing quite a bit of money into you guys as well. So depending on what the um, different specifics are, but it could be a couple $100, could be a few $1,000s. And we had it again where someone it happens quite a bit where we're more or less getting used. So Maria was concerned or was like, well, make them sign a contract, make them do this, make them do that. And it's like, yeah, we could do that. And it's like, and then she's like, I could see why certain suppliers are the way they are, because like what happens is like you could spend all this time, effort, and get them all these jobs and everything else, and then they just run back to someone else. And but I'm like, yeah, but you can't really do that. Like I can't change who I am because of some people that are you know um, not you know genuine or dishonest and things like that. So I can't change who I am. But anyway, if you're looking for a supplier that's going to get you more leads and things like that, like we know how to do that. One of the things that we do is shared leads. So this is basically for contractors that are loyal to us. When you buy your materials from us, we basically we do paid advertising and things like that. And the ads that we're running work pretty damn well. There's a few different ways we get them. But on average, there's at least 5 leads a day coming in, but it could be as high as I think Monday there was like 11 or something. There was total like 14, but then there were several that were outside the area. So if you need more leads, like we know how to like do that. It's what I specialize in. It's what we did for or what I did for my fence company before we had sold that, and that's what I can do. Basically do it for you guys. Anyway, book I'm going through right now is called Buy Back Your Time. There's some of the principles that I think would be helpful for you guys. So number one is what I teach is like I try to get everyone away from like as quickly as you possibly can. So if you're a fence company, you need to quickly get away from installing. Like that's the number one thing that takes the most amount of time out of your day. And for a lot of owners, if you're working like 60, 80 hours a week, It's because you're answering the phone calls, you're, doing emails, you're going out to the estimates, you're putting the quotes together, you're sending them an order, you're possibly following up, you are ordering materials, you're picking up the materials, and you're installing the fence. And like, there's just not enough time in the day. So this is where I tell you guys, like, you got to get away from installing what you sell as quickly as you possibly can. Because at the end of the day, you're doing work that you could be paying someone like $20 an hour, but you're doing that as a business owner. So, a few ways that you can do that. Number one is you can hire, more people and get them trained, and all that other kind of stuff. The problem with that, oh, straw. The problem with that is it takes a lot of time. Finding finding someone takes a lot of time. Training them takes a lot of time, and then trusting that they're going to do what they need to do, it takes a lot of time, right? And I feel like you'd never quite get out of the babysitting phase unless you find like that really good person. Whereas I do suggest going to subcontractors. Um, the reason for that is because they're pretty much trained. They have their truck, trailer, equipment, insurance, and all that kind of stuff. And it ends up being a very mutual you know, benefit or relationship for both of you. So, can they steal your work? Yes. Can they do shitty installs? Yes. But so can your employee, right? But what we find is the subcontractors, what they were basically installers that want to make more money and they want a little bit more freedom and responsibility and things like that. But they don't want to do the entire business, or they started their own business and then they realized they don't want to do all that, or they can't generate the leads that they need to, and things like that. So this is where you should really check them out. Um, People that are on here, I have to figure out. If you need some questions, just respond to that. Put it in the chat box. Um, but yeah, I would 100% go to the subcontractors. And going back to this book, they talk about the five assassins, time assassins. And there's one that basically what's happening is it talks about the within the book that a lot of entrepreneurs are kind of driven by chaos. They talk about a lot of times, you grew up with chaos in your life, which I didn't personally grow up with that. But maybe it was because of McDonald's and the job I was at and stuff, things of that nature. Um, but what ends up happening is we end up when things are going well, we end up self sabotaging ourselves in some manner. Um, so one of the ones is speed demon that it talks about. So this is where you make decisions and do things without really thinking about it, and that's like me to a T. Sometimes, honestly, a lot of times, things come or good that come from it, but then there's a lot of times it sets us back because of the things I've done. Um, Not as much for this company, but definitely for the previous fence company. There was a lot of things I would change and like massively change it, but not really put any thought process to it and kind of like blow up the business. So that's number one. So if you're that type of individual, you might see that like you constantly are doing stupid shit and like random acts. So be cognizant of that. The other thing it talks about is the supervisor part where you're never really training someone. But honestly, I find with the contractors that it really comes down to just not. It's just like you guys are. I think it's part of because how we were taught as we grew up, we have to work hard in order to be successful. So now we equate working harder. If I want to be like, if I'm doing well, I just have to work even harder or even longer. And it's just not true. Where we have to start working on making better decisions and really leveraging the time of other people and technology and things like that to get more stuff done. So it's really getting away from installing. So again, if you are still installing if you're still physically installing a fence, you need to get away from that. And the way to do that is the easiest way is hiring a subcontractor. Again, I had a fence company for 7 years. The first 5 years was employees, and then the last two was subcontractors. I wish I just would have went that route. It's the easiest thing to do because then you can focus on what you're really good at. And if you're really good at selling, then spend the bulk majority of your time just selling. Because if you look at it, if you go and install for a full 8 hours and then you have um, helper or whatever, and just say you make after everything's all said and done, you're making like 800 bucks. Mhm. So effectively, just say you're making 800 bucks a day, you're working 8 hours, which typically it's longer than that, but just say it's 8 hours. So you can make $100 an hour. But just think what happens if you go and sell jobs instead all day. So instead of installing for 8 hours, imagine if you went to 8 quotes. Well, imagine like because you're selling a building and things like that, you sell like 3 jobs or 4, right? So we'll just say 3 on the low side. Well, if you end up using subcontractors and things like that, will you make less? Yeah. So just say, you make 600 bucks on the job instead now, right? So now you spent 8 hours, but you sold 3 jobs, making 600 bucks a piece. You went from, and before you were making 800 bucks. Now you're making $1,800, right? And then what you can also start seeing is that as you start doing the leads and things like that, you won't just make $600 from a job. It'll be 800, 1,000, 1,200, $1,500. And a lot of you guys don't think it's possible, but I'm here to tell you, like, it's not only possible, but it's easy to do. It just comes down to getting enough leads. I had this conversation with another contractor yesterday and talking about the leads that were generating things like that. I'm like, look, you cannot lowball these leads. Like, you need to charge at least this much money. And he's like, really? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, is it possible? I'm like, yeah. It's because there's so many leads coming in. It just doesn't matter if you book the job or, but you got to make it worth your time. So there's that. The other thing I want to talk about is the minimum that you guys are charging. In my personal opinion, it should be at least $100 per post. So this breaks down to just say whatever materials you're paying for, like you don't mark them up at all, and you just are making all your profit off your labor. It should be at least $100 per post. I see a lot of smaller guys that are charging 50, 60, $75, $80, and honestly, it's just not enough money. The reason for that is, if you are working 5 days a week and, everything else, then you're fine. You're making enough money. But then if there's rain or the wintertime or whatever, and you only work 3 days, you're not making enough money. And it doesn't do anyone good if you're not bringing enough profit into the business. I'm not looking for you to overcharge your customers, but you have to charge this minimum amount. Otherwise, you're just not going to survive. I see it time and time again that everything's going great for you in the summertime. You're booking all these jobs and super, super busy, but then the fall comes and you can start seeing like, the looks on the people's faces and things like that. And then by wintertime, it's like you're screwed. I've been there, done that. You don't want to go through that. So charge at least $100 per post. And again, if you have enough leads coming in, you will feel comfortable doing that. So there's that. Um, Ways to get leads. I've talked about this numerous times, but a lot of people don't see it. So it's worth repeating. So number one is like the Google My Business. So I can't tell you how many times I'm talking to people and like, I tell them like, you guys set up your Google My Business. And then like they'll reach out because I sent out an email that says, hey, you need more leads, things like that. And it's like, yeah, I really need more leads. And did you do Google My Business yet? And it'll be like 2, 3 months later. And it's like, no, well, I'm going to set that up this week. But we both know that in 2, 3 months, it's still not going to be set up. You have to do Google My Business. It is one of the number one ways to get more leads into your business. Not only that, but it also helps pre-sell the customer when you go out to do a quote. The reason for that is Google My Business is the one with the reviews. So if they call, and most people do the same thing, type in fence company near me, deck company near me, plumber near me, whatever near me, and it's going to come up with those listings. Well, it shows the top three, and they can click the button to see more. But if they see the top three and they see your company with only one review, but then they see these other two companies with like 70, 80, 100, 200 reviews, who do you think they're going with? The answer is the other person. And it's not even just that, but it's also when you have more reviews and better reviews, the trust factor is higher, but you're also able to charge. You're able to charge appropriately instead of charging these just starting out, no insurance, working by yourself rates. And you just can't do that. I did that in the beginning. Everyone does it in the beginning, but that works when it's just you installing. It works when it's just you and a helper that you're probably paying cash and not on the books. It helps when like there's no equipment, no warehouse or no storage or anything where it's literally bare minimum. Like it works for that. But if you want to have a legitimate business, you cannot continue to charge that way. Um, so there's that. Trying to think what else. It's honestly when you break down everything, it's really simple. I know it may not seem that way, but it is really simple. Sorry, this camera keeps moving. Hopefully the lips match this time. And so it really is that simple. There's really just four parts of your business because I keep on looking at things and like it's just these four things. It's you have to have the ability for people to find you and call you. You have to be able to have the ability to sell to people that call you. You have to have the ability to install what you sell. And then finally, you need to know your numbers. That's it, right? So getting leads again, Google My Business, number one way. Posting on social media, you can do email marketing. You can do as far as email marketing, it's reaching out to your past customers. And if you offer another type of service, say, hey, just to let you know, we also do this now. Hey, got a quote. We did a quote for you, 3 months ago. Is this something, are you looking to move forward? Hey, you did this quote last year. Are you looking to do your fence this year? Like there's stuff like that. And it's literally sending one email to a bunch of people. But as long as you have it set up in a list, it makes it really easy. So you can do something like that. So anyway, doesn't look like anyone's hopping on. I'll probably do more of this kind of stuff that will be probably videos I end up creating real quick and then posting these to the private Facebook group. So if you're interested in joining the group, the link is somewhere. Let me see if I can do this. Um, Sorry, I'm just trying to find this group. So I just started the group, so there's not like a banner or anything like that. Honestly, I'll get to that. But there's other more important things to do than that. So there we go. All right, so I'm gonna copy this. So it puts in here, post that. So if you're seeing this, chances are if you're seeing this, you're probably on my personal page or on YouTube. So hopefully that link goes in there, but it's facebook.com/groups. And then you can just look up HJ Fence Contractors. And that is the group that all this stuff will be in. Because a lot of times I was having these conversations, like one-on-one people, one-on-one with contractors. But then I realized like it's pretty much the same conversation I'm having over and over and over again. And not that I mind talking to you guys. That's actually my favorite part of the my job. But a lot of times you may not have time to talk right now. So then if you're part of this Facebook group and you can, watch it at your leisure, something like this. Now, this isn't as high paced. Honestly, I was trying to do this without coffee, but that didn't work too well. Um, but I think it's also like I'm trying to get away from a more sporadic um, approach where it's like I'm running, 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 but I get off the wheel where I look at my day and it's like I worked really hard today, but what did I get done? And a lot of times it's like, I'll be here for 8, 9, 10 hours. And it's like, really, there's about 10 minutes, half hour worth of work that really drove the business. So I'm trying to start working on that, which I'm trying to apply the principles in the book that I'm reading. I'm just starting it. Um, but I want to try to have more of an analytical approach to business and really show you guys what's possible. So anyway, if you're looking to join a community, because speaking of community, is that as business owners we have a tough time where we're constantly under a lot of stress. We are constantly dealing with a lot of crap day to day, and a lot of times there's really no one to talk to. Um, if you are, just say you're the husband that quit your day job and now you're in stomach fence or whatever happens to be, and like things aren't going well and you're struggling. A lot of times you're not going to feel comfortable going to your wife or spouse or whatever and saying, honey, this, like, I'm really struggling right now because it could be a few reasons. Like your wife or your spouse or whatever could have been like, don't quit your job. And you're like, I'm quitting my job on this work. And now like you're telling them that. And it's like, um, let me know, or I'm sorry, you can't go to them or don't want to go to them and say, look, we're really, I'm struggling. I don't know what we're going to do. So then it's like, I told you so, or arguments or things like that. Um, or you may just be single and really literally have no one to talk to. Or maybe you started this business and your family's telling you you're going to do it and you wanted to prove them wrong and there's problems going on. And you have literally no one to talk to. That's the point of this Facebook group. But then also feel free to reach out to me as well directly. Um, sorry about these glasses. But that's about it. So if you want to join the group, Um, I'll just get more and more detailed into that. So I'll do a better job of posting into the group and then into the different channels as like things kind of pop up. So that's really about it. I'm gonna wrap this up. I'm gonna go read my book or listen to my book for the about a half hour before everyone comes in, so that I can start implementing more stuff. So then you can see even more things that are going on. So anyway, hope you guys are having a great day, and I will talk.